cheese. Good morning, beloveds. Foster's in here with me instead of out there getting cream cheese with his dad. So, all right. Depending on how long I talk, he may still get some cream cheese. All right. It is March 4th. I'm pretty sure it's March 4th. I got to go to the park today. It is wonderful. There is not a cloud in the sky. It is beautiful. It's in the 60s. So as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to go open all of the windows in the house. Not all of them, but a fair number of windows in the house possibly, and air out the house and enjoy the day. So I hope you have as amazing plans as I do. Okay. It's been a heck of a week, so I intend to rest today. All right, it is March 4th. Our title is The Infinite Desires My Success. The first quote is, "If God be for us, who can be against us?" And that is Romans 8:31. The second quote is, "Remember, God is the silent power behind all things, always ready to pour into our experience that which we need." That is Science of Mind, page 301. Okay. I no longer wonder if God wants me to have just certain things. I believe God's will is that I have whatever is good, beautiful, and genuinely beneficial to myself and to others. All that the Spirit has is mine to accept today. I eliminate from my thinking the belief in the need to struggle and compete. Each person receives the right to successful living from the one source, and I cooperate today with my inner wisdom, experiencing success in all that I undertake. It is done unto me according to my awareness and belief. Right now, I give my attention to the accomplishment I truly desire. I know that since my life is God's life, it contains the potential of every good. Whatever I wish to be, in keeping with my divine nature, I already am in essence. I visualize my goals, think intelligently about them, and take steps to implement their attainment. Failure in any department of life means failure in my communication with God, or in my communion with God. I let my awareness of my oneness with God expand and become more vital today. I am a channel of love and see that it is expressed in everything I do. I share abundantly of all that I have, and for such sharing keeps the flow of good to me constant and plentiful. As I let my life be a fuller expression of God, I become a happier, healthier, and more joyous person. And that is DC, and I think that's Douglas, but I don't remember. Nope, it is Donald Curtis. Every time I think I've got it memorized, I'm wrong. All right. So I no longer wonder if God wants me to have just certain things. That's a heck of a way to start one of these, right? And then in the end, he says, I know that since my life is God's life, it contains the potential for every good. That's what we work on. That's what we work on every day, recognizing that our life is God's life. Our life is God's life. And then Donald goes on to say, whatever I wish to be, in keeping with my divine nature, I already am in essence. So my life is God's life, and whatever I desire in keeping with my divine nature, I already am in essence. Which is the idea of anything that we could possibly want, as long as it's in keeping with our divine nature, already exists in the mind of God. What it's up to us to do is to open up the flow between ourselves and our source and allow it to flow through us. And he says, I'm going to focus on it. I'm going to visualize it. I'm going to take steps to attainment. So that's why we say treat and move your feet. Whatever it is, in keeping it with your divine nature, already exists. Whatever good you want. It's not just certain things, because that's what he says. Well, at first I just thought that there were certain things there. Well, no. Anything is possible. but God can only do through you, or for you, what God can do through you. So you've got to be willing to, one, open up the flow, and two, take the steps. So Donald is not letting us off the hook. He says, anything's possible, but. And it's not really a but, it's a both and. Anything that you desire in keeping with your divine nature is available to you. It already exists in the mind of God. It already exists in the life of God, which is the life you are living. The willingness must be on your part. It's like God's willing to do anything for us, but God can only do it for us if God can do it through us. So we've got to be willing to do that part, our part of the work, And what is our part of the work? One, opening up the communion, as he says in his treatment. We've got to keep that line of communication open as possible all of the time. And that's why we do spiritual practice every day. That's why we do treatment every day. That's why we do meditation every day. And is our entire day that? No. And yes. No and yes. We set aside specific time to do that kind of work. But we want to enfold it into who we are, so that we realize that every thought can be creative. Every statement can be creative. And therefore, we can be constantly praying. Which is, and the Bible quote just popped right out of my head. Pray without ceasing. That's the one I'm talking about. When we realize that it is possible for us to pray without ceasing. Now, if you want to pray without ceasing, you definitely want to be aligned with your divine nature. All right? Because when we look at some of the thoughts that pop into our head and we're like, oh, I don't want that to be creative. All right? Well, what do you need to do about that? Well, be more in alignment with your divine nature. Well, how do you do that? Well, there's a variety of ways of doing that. The first one is consciousness. Being conscious of your divine nature. And then the other is, I talk about opening the windows of your soul, being vulnerable to your source, opening up your desires to the source of your being. Being vulnerable is scary. I admit it. I know that. But the one entity, the one presence that you should have no fear of being vulnerable with is the source of your being. God's presence, the life you are living. So being vulnerable with that source, being clear with that source. We talk a lot with each other, and a lot of the times we're not clear with each other. We beat around the bush. What's that big word? It starts with abuse, okay, never mind. It's an SAT word. But basically, we're not clear with each other. We hint and we talk around what we want. Well, it doesn't serve us to do that with the source of our own being. Be clear in your communication with the source of your own being. Tell them. Now, let me remind you, the what is our responsibility. The how is not. So be clear about what your desires are with the source of your own being. But don't line it out so narrowly that spirit can't bring you what you're asking for because you have made it too specific. So clear communication. Be vulnerable with the source of your being. Be clear with the source of your own being. That is what we are asked to do. And the better we get at doing that with the source of our own being, the better we're going to get at doing that with each other. When we recognize each other as godlings, I'm going to use that word, as godlings, when we recognize that each other that we all came from the same source, that we are all living not the same life, but from the same life, then we recognize that we have more in common than we don't. And we can be more clear with each other. And when we can be more clear with each other, then that allows us to be more vulnerable with each other. You want a world that works for everybody? Clear communication is a good place to start. All right. I think I took a wild leap in talking about this, about the infinite desires our success. We are living God's life. God wants us to be happy. It is one of the qualities of God. But we have to be willing to be happy. So, it's the mission today, should we choose to accept it. I like this line right here. I let my awareness of my oneness with God expand and become more vital today. You on a mission today? There it is. Let our awareness of our oneness with God expand and become more vital. Let's get out of our own way. Let's get out of our own way. That's the mission. It's always the mission. It's the same mission every day. I use different words, but almost always the mission is be more conscious of who we are and to treat and move our feet. So, all right, let your awareness of your oneness with God expand and become more vital today. Come into alignment with your divine nature. Come into the full knowing of who you are and the presence in your life. All right. The other mission is the same mission I give you every day, which is the spiritual practice. I'm going to remind you, it is a spiritual practice to do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself. I encourage you to practice on yourself for the sheer reason of you are your own best test subject. Immediate feedback. Is this the most loving, kind, compassionate thing? If the answer is yes, great, go forward. If the answer is no, what do you need to do to make it a little more loving, a little more kind, a little more compassionate? Or a lot. But also because you deserve your own love, you deserve your own kindness, you deserve your own compassion. Absolutely. I'm also encouraging you in the spiritual practice to make a well-worn path to the source of your own being, to the source of infinite love, the source of infinite kindness, the source of infinite compassion, which is the source of our own being, the source of us, the source of everything. When we practice on ourselves, we are creating a habit. We are creating a first response. That is the goal. And we're creating a response, not a reaction. There's the difference between a response and a reaction is a moment of consciousness. And that moment can last as long as you need it to be. You know, sometimes it's a deep breath. Sometimes it's an entire day. And that is honestly, the most loving, kind, and compassionate thing we can do for ourselves is to give ourselves that moment of consciousness and then respond to whatever's happening. So, as I remind you every day, this spiritual practice is absolutely about self-care. I don't pretend it's anything otherwise. But I also remind you that it is about making room for joy. So, you cannot pour from an empty cup. That is why I encourage you to take care of yourself. But also, no matter what is going on in the world, in your world, you deserve joy. So, when I say eat dessert first, I literally mean that. But I also say it as a reminder that your life is a special occasion. To not save the good stuff. To treat your life as a special occasion that it is. I mean, if you think about it, if we're living God's life, how is that not a special occasion? Really, honestly. So, wear the good clothes, eat the good stuff, and eat dessert first if that makes you happy. Although, honestly, I'd rather have chocolate lingering in my mouth than broccoli, so, maybe I'll eat part of my dessert first and then eat a good healthy dinner and then eat. Okay, you know what? Before I get off track, make room for joy. It's a quality of God. We all deserve it. And we're beloved children of God. You know, we have access to that infinite source of love, kindness, and compassion. We can practice it on ourselves. Okay. Gonna wind myself forward a little bit here. Encourage you to do something to engage your mind and your body, whatever that looks like for you today. It is a beautiful day out there where I am, so hopefully it is where you are as well. I encourage you to drink plenty of water. Hydration is super important. You will, everything goes better when your brain works better, and your brain works better when it's hydrated. So drink plenty of water. I do encourage you to get out and get some early in your day bright light. The sun was just wow this morning, and it was good, and it felt good, and it got hot really quick in the park. And so by the end of it, I had taken my jacket off and wrapped it around my waist. My partner thinks I'm nuts, but you know, he's not wrong. So get that early in your day bright light. If you get up before the sun, I do encourage you to get some artificial bright light. What I'm talking about is a circadian rhythm. It's a hormone balance. If you set that off early in your day by getting that early in your day bright light, it will help you have more energy during the day. You'll sleep better at night. I want you to feel better. That's why I say this. It's also science. So, you know, whatever little tips and tricks I can give you in the space of this that to help you feel better, you know, I feel it's my responsibility to do that. I want you to live your best life. So, and then my phrase, my quote from Ernest Holmes, to open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you do live in heaven right here, right now. I'm lighthearted and fun about it, but the truth is that phrase right there is a reminder that we come with the most amazing superpower. When we recognize that we come pre-installed with the Christ consciousness, when we recognize that heaven is a state of mind, a state of consciousness that we can access through this Christ consciousness that we already have, that heaven ceases to be a place and can become any place. And if we practice, can become every place. That's just amazing. And to think about it, to really think about it, you know, it's kind of mind-blowing. And so, yes, I'm lighthearted, and yes, I'm fun, and that's just who I am. And that's part of this heavenly mindset for me. It's a gift that I wish everybody would open, because we've all got it. We've all got it. And that's why in Science of Mind, we try to be living examples of our teaching. So we open the windows of our soul, and we are vulnerable with each other, and we are vulnerable with the people that we meet. And we see them as the beloved children of God that they are. Now, we also do not tolerate bad behavior, and sometimes we love them from a distance. So, that's who we are. That's who we are. All right. It's just a reminder, you know, it's just a reminder. I can get off into this, and I don't ever want anybody to put themselves in a situation that is not safe for them. I don't ever want them to put themselves in a situation where they're being vulnerable with people that will not appreciate that. So it's just a quick reminder. Please open the windows of your soul. Be vulnerable with the source of your own being. And be safe. Take care of yourself. Remember, I talk about self-care. Take care of yourself. Okay. And we can always take Emma's advice. Look for the good and praise it. At which point I can remind you, and again, this is where I'm lighthearted and fun, no matter what situation you walk into, there will always be good because you are there. You bring the good with you. You are the good. All right? If you're made of God stuff, you are good stuff. Okay? All right. Moving forward into the social media, we are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark on the social medias that we are on. I am the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. I encourage you, if you want to know what's going on with the center, email info@creativelife.org. That will get you on the constant contact, and those hot links are hot. If it says click here now, it will take you right there. And we have a new feature on our website where, which is creativelife.org, where there's a part on the website where you can do the Sunday talks, Well, that'll take you right to our YouTube channel now, where all that amazing stuff is available. And we do have a really cool event coming up this Wednesday, one of our soul sessions, which that's my favorite playlist. That is my favorite playlist, is the YouTube playlist. So, of the soul sessions, because there's some really amazing people on that. All right, moving forward. Yes, I'm at the part where I get to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonder-filled day, an awesome day, an amazing day, a Saturday, or in my case, a Catterday. I do intend to spend some time snuggling with my cats today. A get stuff done day, a rest day, a take care of business day, a enjoy the weather while we've got it day, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day, because you are enough just as you are. You are a beloved child of God. You are a divine spark. You are a brilliant light. You are spirit in motion. You are God in action. Always. You are a godling in whom God is well pleased and well represented. It's a state of grace. Cool things about states of grace: they don't have to be earned. Can't be taken away. I was talking about that superpower of learning that heaven is a state of mind, because that is also a state of grace. Once you learn how to do that for yourself, 1, you can replicate it, and 2, nobody can take it away from you. So, know who you are. Know who you are. All right, Reverend David should be around 5 p.m. with you on Facebook Live. I will be back with you around 9 a.m. And then, since tomorrow is Sunday, we will have an amazing service for you. So, and it's a new month, new theme, and it's Women's History. So it'll be all good. Jesse finds the most amazing people when he does these themes, like Women's History, or when he did Black History, and he finds these cool people to talk about. So I look forward to that. So please join us. All right. Take care of yourself. Know that you're loved. I will see you next time.